Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Kris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is Childcare Rockstar Radio, episode 218, featuring Megan Ferring. Welcome back, folks. I'm thrilled that you're here, and may I be one of the first to say to you, Happy New Year. Well, this episode's coming out on January 6th or thereabouts, so I definitely won't be the first one, but Happy New Year, everybody. It's 2026, and I'm thrilled about it. I have so much to be thankful for, and I'm so grateful for 2025. You might not feel the same way if you didn't have the best year, but I've shared this a little bit in my solo episodes. I had really an incredible year of creative output and experiences. You know, a TED Talk has been on my list for over a decade to become a TED Talk speaker, and I was almost feeling so remote. And I was even wondering if it was still a goal for me, and I almost crossed it off of my bucket list. But I left it on there, and lo and behold, a book came out of me, a book that I finished called The Antidote to Fear, about my journey as an entrepreneur and a single mom of two. And if you haven't picked that up, you can get a copy on Amazon. People are loving it, so I'm grateful that people are being impacted and inspired by it. And with that book, I pulled a few nuggets out of it and crafted a TED Talk, which is going to be released here shortly in the next, hopefully, week or two. So that's a little bit about what I'm doing. I was just very, very grateful. Also, I got engaged in 2025, met the man of my dreams, and we are planning our wedding for late June this year. So I'm into my bridal season and loving that as a 59-year-old. This will be my second marriage. I've been single for a while. Let's see, about a decade. So I hope that you're doing great. And let's learn about our guest today, Megan Ferring. Megan has two teenagers herself, and she is the regional director, one of her regionals at Hamilton Heights CDC in the Omaha, Nebraska area. And if that sounds a little familiar to you, if you're following the podcast, it should, because back at episode 202, we spoke to Megan's owner, Adrian Agulla, which was an outstanding episode full of writer-downers. And this one is the same. We are talking to Megan because she's an excellent regional director. She leads with playful leadership is her game, but she's also she's solely focused on compliance, process improvement, documentation, and operational consistency across all the 6 sites of Hamilton Heights. And so, you know, in most childcare organizations, the org chart is having the regionals focused more geographically. They might have 2 or 3 or 4 centers that they're responsible for everything at, versus dividing up your regionals into lanes or areas of focus. And so this is that model. And so we wanted to dive in and learn more about that, so you could potentially adopt that or just lean into something different. I called this episode Stamp Your Center's Footprint in the Community, because that's exactly what Megan and her team is doing. She is using community branding and community events to gain recognition and brand awareness in the community. She is using, as I mentioned, really fun leadership things like Christmas in July and inflatable Santas. And she's known for wearing inflatable costumes. It's one of her things. So that always makes her team laugh and have fun, and they love it. She came up through the ranks at Hamilton Heights, and she was the manager of special projects for a while, because I think Adrian wanted to keep her on the team, but didn't know exactly where to put her. And then she grew into regional director. So you're going to fall in love with Megan just as much as I did. She's just, she's like a quiet storm, and I love it. I love her energy. So let's dive in and meet Megan without any further ado. And thanks for tuning in to the podcast, guys, here at Childcare Rockstar Radio. Let's go. folks. Welcome back to the podcast. I am very excited to introduce to you today my guest, Megan Ferring. Megan, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. And yourself?
Doing fantastic. Megan is a regional director at Hamilton Heights Child Development Center in the Omaha, Nebraska area. Welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been in the early childhood field, and just give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I started in early childhood working at a childcare center in high school. And I did that until I was ready to start college. And when I started college, I started working on my degree in elementary education. And that was right about the time that Common Core came into play. And I just felt in my heart that that wasn't really where I wanted to land. I wanted to do more with the youngers and learning through play and things like that. So I found my way to Hamilton Heights, and I have been with the company a little over 16 years now.
Wow. So that's very cool that you joined them right out of college, it sounds like, and you've been with them for your whole career so far.
Yes, I joined 1 year after college. I was working some retail prior to that through schooling, but yeah, they've been my home.
Nice. And for those followers of the podcast, we somewhat recently, about 3 or 4 months ago, had the owner of Hamilton Heights, Adrienne Agula, on the show, and she was fantastic. Had a lot of fun on that episode. And so Megan is here to talk about her experience as a regional, and she is compliance focused, and she's helping with these roles for all 6 centers. You heard it with Adrienne's story, how she grew to 6 centers. And so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about all the things related to leadership in an ECE setting. So tell us a little bit more about your home life, Megan, and if you have any children or any on the way, or what's going on, any hobbies. Just tell us more about you at home.
Yeah. So I have a husband who I have been married to for 18 years, and together we have a 17-year-old son who's getting ready to graduate in May.
Wow.
And also a 12-year-old son who is finishing up his last year in elementary school. So May is a big time for our family coming up with transitions.
Yeah.
We love to go camping together as a whole unit. We have some 4-wheelers and side-by-sides and golf carts and things like that. So when time allows, we like to go down to our camper and spend some time on the Platte River.
Love it. I love the outdoorsy component. I'm into all that stuff myself, as you may know. So very cool. You look very young, so I thought maybe you would be a younger mom, but it's hard for me to believe that you have a 17-year-old. So you look so young.
Yes.
So way to go.
Thank you.
Yeah, love it. That's very, very cool. Let's talk a little bit about your journey into the role of regional, because you've been, with Adrienne and her team. And so, because you didn't start that way, I'm sure, right? So
That's
talk about how you stepped into that role and what your journey has been.
Yeah, so when I was first hired at Hamilton Heights, it was under a different owner. And I started out as a preschool teacher. And I did that for several years and then transitioned to a toddler teacher. And that was shortly before Adrienne came into the picture and took over ownership of Hamilton Heights. And once she did, she obviously had bigger plans of growing and things like that, and really poured into wanting to cultivate a leadership team based on who was already vested in the company. So an opportunity presented itself for me to move locations. At that time, it was just 3 centers that Hamilton Heights had. And I moved over to a different location as part-time assistant director and then part-time classroom teacher. And probably about 2 years or so in that role, her first baby came to our Lincoln Center, and she approached me and asked me if I would want to go and be the director of that location. And that location is about an hour and 15-minute drive from where I'm located. So that took a lot of thought, but I also didn't want to squander my chances of being able to grow in my role. So of course I said yes. That was February 1st of 2020 is when we took that over.
Wow.
So shortly
Wow.
after
Yeah.
COVID came in, and it was really bizarre driving down every day on an interstate that was empty and
Yes.
just really surreal.
Uh-huh.
And that came with its own challenges. And eventually we hired a director that was local to Lincoln. And so my trips down there were still necessary, but became less frequent as we transitioned into that employee having full ownership as the director of that location. And then that just kind of left a hole of, okay, now what? What with Megan? Like, we don't want to just let it go,
Mm-hmm.
find something for her to do. So I became
Mm-hmm.
director of special projects, and I just kind of dabbled in different things, whether it was assisting in process writing or working with hiring, things like that. And it really allowed me to learn a vast set of skills. And then as she built the fifth location and renovated the sixth location, I had a pivotal role in that, from working with architects to buying supplies, buying furniture, creating those lists, and then, going in and checking how are things coming, what do you need from us, that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it really has given me a great opportunity to just really grow in my role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the manager of special projects role because it allows you to learn a ton and touch all the different pieces of the business and then see opportunities where other people might not be seeing those opportunities because they just don't have that vision of that moment. So that's very
right.
cool.
And one thing that I've recognized about myself is I'm just a lifelong learner. Like, that fuels me.
Yeah.
So being able to do that and put it into my toolkit is just great.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you been in the regional director role?
So the regional director role, I have been in 2.5-ish years.
Okay.
So that came about right as we opened our fifth and sixth center. Mm-hmm. And my region then became the Lincoln Center that we acquired, and then the remodel and the build center, because all of those centers were working for the same goal: building enrollment, getting our name known in the community, and things like that. So that role looked different than the regional director for our 3 existing centers because we already had our name established.
Mm-hmm. So when it came to that role with growth and enrollment and marketing, what did you learn? What were some gems that you picked up that helped spur the enrollment for those locations? What were some best practices or things that were working for you as you learned and dove into that role?
Yeah, I think the big thing to learn in all of this is that it's important that you put your footprint in the community that you're serving. And in some areas, that's a slower uptick than what you'd like to see. But first, to build that enrollment, you have to have name and brand recognition. Mm-hmm. So what are those things that you're doing that allow that to happen so Hamilton Heights becomes a house name?
Yes. So what are some of the things that you did in the community marketing aspect? I mean, of course, with regard to branding and getting your name in the households in those communities. Right. Does anything stand out with, whether you were in the parades or you went to parent events and had tables, or just what are some of the things that you tried?
Yeah, so we still to this day do what we call yellow boxes. And that's basically what you guys talk about when you say muffin runs.
Yeah.
We just fill them with different things and hit different occasions. Adrian also runs Milton's Amazing Kitchen as our catering partner. And so we leverage their help to make different special treats. This past week was World Kindness Day. So we delivered little mini hand pies out to the community. So being able to utilize their skill set to assist us. We've done parades. We're also very active in different early childhood community partnerships, especially in Lincoln. So that helps get our name out, especially down there.
Mm-hmm. So the brand color, I'm assuming, is yellow. So you have yellow
Purple,
boxes.
Yellow. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that becomes known as a thing.
That's right.
With the yellow boxes. So that's got brand recognition related to brand colors. So I love that you're tying it into holidays and or what we call oddball holidays. So World Kindness Day being an example of a lesser known holiday, but there's lots of those out. National Siblings Day and Talk Like a Pirate Day, and we could go on and on. So I love that you're tying that in. Very, very cool. Anything else that comes to mind with, so how did you do? I mean, focus on enrollment. How were your results? How did you do at growing the enrollment in those schools?
I would say that overall it's been a slow build in any of those three, depending on what year we're talking about. Our 86th and Cass location, that one has been a quicker build just because there are centers around the area that unfortunately have had to close. So when you do that, you get the influx of families that are struggling to find immediate care.
Yes.
So that has helped fill us in that location specifically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're in a interesting season in the childcare industry right now, where we are in a slower build of enrollment, and we're having people's enrollments drop as well, sometimes unpredictably. And because of inflationary pressures, today's families are opting to stay home more than probably families in the 90s and 2000s. So it's an interesting time. So you guys may have experienced some of that as well.
We have.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, I guess, keeping your nose to the grindstone and continuing to try and test and do all the things that we teach you guys in the academy and what you're learning from other people, because the people that can stick through this season will win, because at some point the market's going to recorrect.
Right. And I think the important piece of that too is remembering or recentering back on what you feel your quality programming is and your unique benefits.
Yes.
To use that as leverage to help you gain that enrollment and maintain that enrollment as the times are difficult and once the market flips. Yes,
completely agree. And people that lose focus on the unique benefits and that messaging, that differentiation messaging, can lose enrollments because they forget to continue to marketing to their existing families too. So I love all of this. This is really important stuff to talk about right now. So then you shifted out of that growth or build focus for those three centers, and you became more of she reorganized you guys a little bit. So now you're focused on all six centers, but you have specific lanes of your strengths or what your focus is, which your focus right now is compliance and process.
That's right.
Right. So talk a little bit about what you do now in a typical day versus what you used to do, and just some of the things that you do that are your, getting into the whole compliance piece. Like, do you have software that you use to assist you with these things? And how do you continue to try to improve the compliance in the process? Like consistency across the sites of operations, all that kind of stuff. So just talk more about what that role looks like and what you do in a typical week.
Yeah, so this role is actually really new. It was mentioned the week after Summit. So I've been in it about 6 weeks or so.
Wow. Okay.
But it's been going really well. And there's still, I feel like I have a lot to learn about what Adrian is looking for and what best serves our company. But right now, what I've been focusing on is going into the centers and making sure that they are following our SOPs that have been written and checking for compliance on that. I've also been checking staff files and ensuring that they are in compliance as well. One tool that I've used that has really helped me with that piece is Bamboo HR. They have a phenomenal reporting structure that I can build reports based on what exactly I'm looking for, not only in one specific center, but across the entire company. And then I can tailor it and customize it to share with specific locations or with Adrian or our executive team. So that's been really helpful. It also has alerts. We have trainings that expire every 5 years. I can set up in the training tab what those training requirements are and the names of the trainings. And then as that comes up for an expired date, it does send the directors an email saying, hey, this person's going to expire within the next 90 days. And that's a new feature that we just started as I've moved into this role. But I do think that that's going to serve us very well in the future as we come up on those trainings expiring.
That's super helpful. Is that's being done through Bamboo HR too?
Yes.
Cool. Love that. Do you sometimes feel, I know this is a new role for you, but do you sometimes feel like when you walk in that people are like, uh-oh, Megan's here. Get your stuff together, guys. Like, uh-oh. Like, do you feel like the police a little bit?
I hope that I don't ever feel that way.
Yeah.
Because anybody who truly knows me knows that that is like the last thing I want anybody to feel about me. But I do think it's been good. And so far I've been met with smiles. So I hope that continues.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm sure that it will. I mean, you're just there to help and you're there to really, it's like in the best interest of the child and the family and each other, you know, from a team's perspective. Like we want to make sure that everybody's pulling their weight and properly following process so that everybody can be on a team and support each other with best practices, you know, so nobody gets caught with their proverbial pants down.
That's right.
And then get licensing violations too. So that all goes hand in hand.
Right. And the goal is that any licensing violation that may come up would be caught with me going in and doing these compliance checks prior to it becoming an issue. So
cool. I forgot to ask you what your fun fact was. Do you have a fun fact that you'd like to share about yourself? Something that not that many people know about you?
Yeah. So I am actually very, very shy. And growing up, I would not even call and order a pizza over the telephone, let alone answer the door when it was delivered. I would make other people do it. And this last year, I actually got on stage twice at masterminds to present. So it's just really speaking to the growth that I have done in my adulthood.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was a shy kid too. I never liked to get on the telephone. I was always, as a young teen, I kind of broke out of that in high school more. But yeah, definitely when I was the 13-year-old me, no way. It's not happening. I love that.
I would say mine lasted even through college.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get that. I totally get that. My daughter's kind of like that too. So kudos to you for getting on stage and presenting talks at the Academy. How are you liking your friendships that you're making? What's your favorite part about being in the team program in the Academy?
I think that in that team room, something special happens where you, and honestly, in the main room too, you don't feel alone, right? Like you're hearing that people are struggling with the same issues you are, and it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
And that you're not in it alone.
Yes. Yeah. It can be very lonely for owners and for regional and executive directors, for sure, and directors. They're all difficult jobs dealing with lots of different stakeholders, parents of young children, you know, definitely not easy to manage or please. And then we get into that whole people pleasing thing. And that's, you know, can be unhealthy. So I love that you said that, because that camaraderie, that community, that tribe, that belonging, that having some place to vent and some place to ask questions. Like, I'm dealing with this issue. Is anybody else dealing with this? You know, and just having that is so valuable. So thanks for sharing that.
And always coming back with something that you can take action on that's different than anything that you've maybe tried before.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Love it. Let's talk about the playful leadership component. So talk to me about ways that you get into the play side and how you have fun with your team and how you show up in that way.
That is probably one of my favorite things, honestly, about being a leader. So I have ordered multiple blow-up inflatable costumes that I put on and roam the halls of our centers or make silly marketing videos. Christmas in July, I was a blow up Santa with a flamingo and, based a marketing ad off of that. The kids love
Nice.
when I go out onto the playground in the blow up inflatable costumes.
Uh-huh.
And last year at one of our centers, I pretended like I was Elf on the Shelf,
Oh my
and
God.
they hid pictures that had been laminated around the building of me. And as staff found it, they were able to come in and collect a prize. And so just finding ways like that to make your staff smile. I mean, all of our jobs are difficult. And when we can smile together and laugh together, it does something, one, for the culture, but just lifting your heart up too.
Yeah. I love that when you said that, because my kids, we did Elf on the Shelf for their whole childhood. And my daughter still gets the elf out. She's 20 and she pretends like, you know, and so and then he goes around and Elfie does move. And Elfie is still watching for any bad behavior. He's going to report back to Santa. So it kind of inspired me when you said that. I don't know if we're going to do any academy parties that are holiday themed in the future, but I would like to be Elf on the Shelf one of these years and like create a little shelf for my bud. And
oh, that's fun.
Isn't that fun? So maybe we can do a few of us can be elves on the shelf together or something.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Like that.
Yeah.
I might have to bring that in this year in some capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. I love that. Well, I love the playful leadership piece. Recently had Rachel Supala on the podcast, and she did a book and a TED Talk all about her magic playful leadership like platform and how she does that with her team. So I love that. What else would you like to share about being on a leadership team that is growing, learning, adapting, changing? Working with Adrienne, working with the other leaders, any fun things that you guys do as leadership teams that you want to share, or just anything about your experience on this team?
Yeah. I think one thing that sticks out is in a leadership role, you have so many different personalities, and it can be really hard to accommodate all of those personalities and make them feel valued in what's meaningful to them. So one of the things that we have started doing is every onboarding packet does contain the love languages or workplace appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And I have made it my mission to have that for the leadership staff. So I know how to appreciate each one of my fellow team members in the ways that speak best to them. And I think that's really important. And I feel like those people who adopt a practice similar to that can help mitigate any issues from big to small when you're speaking how your staff feel valued.
Mm-hmm. I love that you brought that up, because so many things we've shared in the academy over the years, and I forget sometimes the things that have been really impactful. And that is one of them. The 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace book, the assessment, having your people take it, and then actually using what the love language is for that employee is phenomenal, because also it shows that you took the time to ask, and then you actually listened, and then you acted on the result, which just is like an extra level of caring and listening. People, I think, really respond to that, especially women, I'll say, in the workplace. So I love that, that you guys are using that so actively. So for anybody that kind of forgot about that one, because there's a lot in the, over the years in the academy, we've shared so many books, resources, assessments, ideas. And sometimes they can get, forgotten because we're doing so much. So that is a valuable one to pick back up again. So thanks for sharing that. What is a challenge that you faced? What's a time when you just felt you were really struggling or overwhelmed or had to overcome a big challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think for me, being such a shy person and an introvert, anytime there's a conflict, it just bubbles up all these sleepless nights, questioning, am I the right person for the role? And over the years, I've just learned, like, dig deep. You've got this. You can handle it. And most often, you're not walking through the fire alone. And I feel like that's something our leadership team is very strong in, that at the end of the day, we all support each other and we're all there for each other, whatever that looks like given the situation. And we'll hold hands, walk through the fire, and we'll come out on the other side better for it.
Love that. Have you guys utilized your core values a lot in building your culture? Or what do you do? What are some of the tools that you use to keep your culture strong?
So I think that is very location dependent on whether or not they leverage into core values. What I do specifically, and it's obviously accessible to other members of the team, but we have core value cards. And on the back side, it's like, you rocked by using our core value. And then you're able to write a note for what you saw them doing that exhibited the core value. So that in hand with the playful leadership idea, I feel like just goes leaps and bounds. Culture's hard sometimes, especially in this industry when there's not often opportunity to mingle, because you should be focused on the children in your care and building that relationship. So finding those playful moments and those opportunities to just kind of drop little culture events or challenges or activities throughout the day.
Well, and those things, I mean, I love that you have the playful side and the culture, that warm, loving side, because that helps people want to follow the checklist, right? So you're doing process and compliance, and without the culture piece, it can get, very onerous. It can get very not positive, that people can be like, oh, this place just wants me to follow the checklist and I get dinged when I don't. And so leading by culture and by values is helping you give people.
I think the other
go ahead.
important piece is that for myself, I am very much a servant leader. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. And I make sure that is on display when opportunity presents itself, when I'm inside of buildings, because there's no reason that because of my title, I'm not doing something that I'm asking you to do. And I think that goes a long way in building rapport.
Yes, for sure. And it also can help with having people just feel more empowered.
That's right.
So very cool. How do you define a childcare rock star?
I would define a child's care rock star as somebody who wakes up each day knowing that it is their mission to change the lives of children and families that they serve on a daily basis, whether that's through large actions or small actions, processes or procedures. It's just important that in the roles that we are privileged to be in, we put those things first.
Do you ever see examples of team members going above and beyond? And how do you reward that behavior? In other words, how do you bring into your culture that spirit of excellent service or going above and beyond for families or children?
I think we're privileged to see that a lot, honestly. And we have a variety of different ways to call that out, whether it's location-based or through the company as a larger whole. Adrian's really good about publishing a state of the company every quarter. And she uses that to call out celebrations and wins within the team so that all of our locations are able to hear the wins, because we don't have an opportunity to get together often. She also has created something we call the Hammy Awards. And so when we get together for in-service, it's all 6 locations together. And directors and staff members can nominate people that they feel exhibit our core values. So being able to call that out in person too is a great way at building that culture.
The Hammy Awards.
Yes.
See, I just keep digging because there's just more gold in there. I swear to God. I mean, you guys are just an amazing, shining example of excellence. And I'm so glad that she nominated you to be on the podcast.
Yes.
Because there's so much. Yeah, there's so much there that what you guys are doing, it just continues to amaze me. The state of the company newsletter, I didn't even know about. I got to see a copy of that thing because I'm sure it's awesome. And the fact that she's basically making like mini celebrities of the team members by putting them in the newsletter. And then the Hammy Awards. I mean, this is celebritizing. Great service, great behavior, cultural behavior.
Right.
Really cool. Love, love, love. Okay. Well, I guess I'll have to have you on the podcast one more time. Somebody else from the team will have to come on so I can keep digging at all the good stuff that you guys are doing. This has been great. Anything else that as we come to a close, Megan, that you want to share with the audience? What didn't I ask you that I should have asked you?
Maybe the number one lesson that I've learned.
All right. What's the number one lesson that you've learned?
that is, it took me a long time to learn it, but now that I've learned it, it definitely has made an impact. That not everybody has the same heart and drive that I do. And that's okay. It's what sets me apart.
Interesting. So I'm sure there can be feelings, some kind of feeling, some kind of way about, like, this player isn't playing as hard as me, or, all of those emotions. But it sounds like you've come to acceptance around that.
Yeah. And I think it's not just in work, right? Personal life too.
Yeah.
And that if what other people do, they feel like they're giving their best, that's on them.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I need to be able to look at myself and say, I know that I put in my full potential and that I didn't leave anything on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. Your journey is your journey and their journey is their journey.
That's right.
So love that. Wow. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for being here today on the podcast. Megan Ferring, Omaha, Nebraska. Love it. 17-year-old, a 12-year-old, lots of fun changes ahead for you this spring.
Yes. Yes. Some that I'm emotional about for sure.
I am sure. I have been there. I hosted my daughter's graduation party with 3 other families. So it was a 4-girl high school graduation party. And we had probably 200 people here, but just embrace it. Have fun with it. Have a good old time. But yes, you will get emotional, but that's okay.
I'm sure, because I've already been there a couple times.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much again for being here. Big blessings to you. Shout out to Hamilton Heights, everybody who's gotten a Hammy Award, and even those who haven't. Yours is coming up.
Their time is coming.
That's right. Their time is coming. And, all the families that are impacted by these 6 schools, I'm thinking about all the children running in and out of the day. And it just gives me chills. And I just love it so much. In the heartland of America. Very, very cool. Thanks for tuning in, guys, again, to another amazing episode of Child Care Rockstar Radio. And we will see you next time. God bless. I hope you liked this episode of Child Care Rockstar Radio. If you did, please leave a review and share it with someone you know to help spread the word to friends in our industry and on social media. Childcare business success is my passion, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. As a thank you for listening, I've got a new video training that shows you how to add 6 figures or more of new revenue to your program in the next 60 days by improving your hiring and your enrollment systems. To watch my new video, just go to www.fixmyschool.com. That's fixmyschool.com. Thanks. Take care and God bless.